Hi everyone, it's Bianca here. In this tutorial I show you how to work this peach with the leaf on top into a square. We need 5 different colors for this square. 2 colors for the peach, a yellow and a peach color, then 1 color for the square, and 2 colors for the leaf, green and a little bit of brown. You need also a scissors and a needle, and for my choice of yarn I need to work with a 4mm crochet hook. The first color, that's yellow, and we begin with a magic circle on the hook. And we begin with our first double crochet, and that's a chain 3. 1, 2 and 3. Now in the magic circle make 11 double crochets. First double crochet, yarn over, enter hook in the magic circle, grab your yarn, pull up, yarn over, pull for 2, yarn over, pull for 2. That's 1. Make 11 in total. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. With your first chain 3 here in the beginning, counts also for a first double crochet. You have now 12 double crochets in total in the magic circle. Now pull in the short tail of the magic circle, so the magic circle close here in the center, and then on top of the very first double crochet, that's the chain 3, in the third chain stitch we make a slip stitch. 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2 and 3 in that stitch. Enter your hook, grab your yarn, pull through and pull through. Round 2 with the same color. We start our first double crochet, that's a chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and now into that same stitch where we make that slip stitch in the previous round, we work on top 1 double crochet. So we have here in the beginning, in the very first stitch, 2 double crochets in that same stitch. Now in the next 11 stitches we work 2 double crochets in that same stitch. Yarn over, enter hook in the next stitch, make 1 double crochet and go back into that same stitch with a second. We work like this all the way around. In every stitch 2 double crochets in that same stitch. If you work like this all the way around, then you have on the end of this round 24 double crochets in total. I'm all the way around. Now I cut the yarn, not too short, and open up that last stitch. You pull your hook all the way up. Now I grab the needle and I make a invisible join in the beginning. We skip our first double crochet, that's the chain 3. Then on the top of the very first real double crochet, under through that V stitch here, go under through, pull through, you go back to the last double crochet, only in the back loop of that stitch, and then you go back in the top of that chain 3, also in the third chain stitch, only in the back loop of that stitch. Then you pull through, and then you have here in the beginning also a little V-stitch on top of that chain 3. turn my work, go under to a little thread here on the back, pull through, for a second time under to that same thread, but now you pull not your yarn all the way through and through till you have here a little loop. You enter the needle into that loop and then you pull, so you have here a little knot, and then you weave only in the back loop of the stitches, only in the back of the stitches. You do not see that needle here on the front of the stitches, so you work only in the back of the stitches. You weave that tail in. It's not too tight. Then you skip one stitch here on the back and go under through the stitches on the back of the stitches and pull through. And we do this also with the tail of the magic circle. We create first a little knot, so under to one little thread here on the back, pull through for a second time, make a little loop, enter the needle into that loop and then pull, and then weave only in the back of the stitches your tail in. We start on the second color, that's the peach color, and make a slip knot on the hook, and we begin with a standing single crochet in the third double crochet of the previous round. And your first stitch of the previous round is that chain 3, counts also for one double crochet. It's 1, then in the second and the third one. In the third one we begin with a standing single crochet. So the yarn is on the hook. Here's your chain 3, 1, 2, 3 in the third double crochet, under through that V, grab your yarn, pull up, yarn over and pull for 2 for a standing single crochet. Now we make 2 single crochets into the next stitch. So 1, back into that same stitch for a second, and then into the next stitch make only 1 single crochet. You do that again, into the next stitch, 2 single crochets in that same stitch, 1, back in that same stitch, 2, and then in the next stitch 1 single crochet. And we do this again, into the next stitch, 2 single crochets in that same stitch, 1 and 2, and in the next stitch only 1 single crochet. Then in the next stitch make 2 single crochets in that same stitch, 1 and 2. Then in the next stitch we make 1/2 double crochet, yarn over the hook, enter hook in the next stitch, grab your yarn, pull up, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull the 3 in one go. Into the next stitch make 2 half double crochets in that same stitch, yarn over and pull the 3. That's 1, back into that same stitch for a second half double crochet. In the next stitch only 1 half double crochet, and then into the next stitch we make 1/2 double crochet and back into that same stitch 1 double crochet, yarn over, pull for 2, yarn over, pull for 2. So we have here 1/2 double crochet and also 1 double crochet in that same stitch. In the next stitch make only 1 double crochet, and then make 2 double crochets in the next stitch. That's one, back into the same stitch for a second, and that 1 double crochet and 2 double crochets in the next stitch. We repeat those stitches 4 more times. In the next stitch, 1 double crochet, in the next stitch 2 double crochets in that same stitch. We have to repeat 3 more times these stitches. In the next stitch 1 double crochet, in the next stitch 2 double crochets in that same stitch, 1 and 2. We have to repeat 2 more times. In the next stitch 1 double crochet, in the next stitch 2 double crochets in that same stitch, and 1 more. In the next stitch 1 double crochet, in the next stitch 2 double crochets in that same stitch. Then in the next stitch 1 double crochet, and then in the next stitch we work, and that's the last stitch here for that standing single crochet, we work in that last stitch 1 double crochet and 1 half double crochet in that same stitch. So we start with a double crochet in that stitch, and then back into that same stitch and 1 half double crochet. So yarn over and you can that same stitch, grab your yarn, pull up, yarn over, pull to 3, and then on top of the very first standing single crochet make 1 slip stitch. Don't cut the yarn. In the next round we use the same color. We start on round 4. We begin with a chain. Counts for nothing, it's only to hype a stitch. Now back into that same stitch where you make that slip stitch, work 1 single crochet. That's your very first stitch. Into the next stitch make 1 single crochet. Then in the next stitch make 2 single crochets in that same stitch. That's 1, back into the same stitch, 2. In the next 2 stitches 1 single crochet. So in the next stitch 1, and in the next stitch also 1 single crochet, and then into the next stitch make 2 single crochets in that same stitch. So 1, back into the same stitch, 2. In the next 2 stitches only 1 single crochet. So 1, into the next stitch, also 1. Into the next stitch 2 single crochets in that same stitch, 1 and 2. Now into the next 2 stitches make 1 half double crochet. So 1, into the next stitch, also 1. Then we make into the next stitch 2 half double crochets in that same stitch. That's 1, back into that same stitch with another. That's 2. Into the next 2 stitches only 1 double crochet. So 1, into the next stitch, also 1. Then into the next stitch we work 2 times a treble. For a treble we yarn twice over the hook, 1 and 2. Enter your hook in the next stitch, grab your yarn, pull up, 4 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull for 2, yarn over, pull for 2, yarn over and pull for 2 loops. We do this again into that same stitch. We yarn over twice over the hook, enter your hook in that same stitch, grab your yarn, pull up, yarn over, pull for 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull for 2, yarn over, pull for 2. Into the next stitch, make 1 double crochet and work into the next stitch also 1 double crochet. Then into the next stitch, make 2 double crochets in that same stitch. So 1, back into the same stitch for a second, and these last 4 stitches, 2 double crochets and 2 double crochet in that same stitch. We repeat those stitches 3 more times. So in the next 2 stitches only 1 double crochet, that's 1, into the next stitch, 2, and then in the next stitch 2 double crochets in that same stitch, 1, in that same stitch, 2. We repeat those stitches 2 more times. Into the next 2 stitches 1 double crochet, that's 1, 2, in the next stitch 2 double crochets in that same stitch, and again in the next 2 stitches 1 double crochet, and in the next stitch 2 double crochets in that same stitch. In the next 2 stitches 1 double crochet, that's 1, into the next stitch also 1. Now we make in the next 2 stitches 2 single crochet, 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So in the next stitch 1 single crochet, in the next stitch only 1 single crochet. In the next stitch make 2 single crochets in that same stitch, 1, back into that same stitch for a second. In the next stitch 1 single crochet, in the next stitch 2 single crochets in that same stitch, 1 and 2. Then in the next stitch only 1 single crochet, and in the last stitch make 2 single crochets in that same stitch, 1 and 2. We cut the yarn, make a invisible join in the beginning, open up that stitch, grab the needle, and then we skip here that chain 1, counts for nothing. The first stitch is that single crochet. We skip also that stitch. We go to the next stitch, under to the V on the top, pull through, then in the last stitch only in the back loop, and in the first stitch also in the back loop, and then pull through. And this here is your invisible join. Weave both tails in on the back of the stitches. So we complete the peach, and with the next color we begin on the square. Make a slip knot on the hook, and the place where we start with a standing single crochet is in this point here, where we make the 2 trebles, these 2 trebles here, and we start on top of the very first treble with a standing single crochet. So you have here the 2 trebles, and then in the very first here on the top, grab your yarn, pull up, yarn over, and pull through 2. In that same stitch make 1 more single crochet, so you have 2 single crochets in that same stitch. Then make a chain 2, 1, 2, and then 2 single crochets on top of the next treble. It's 1 and 2, and this here is our first corner. In the next 7 stitches make 1 single crochet, 1 in the next, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 single crochets. Then we make in the next 3 stitches 1/2 double crochet. So yarn over in the next stitch. Grab your yarn and pull through 3 in one go. That's 1 in the next stitch, 2 and in the next stitch 3 1/2 double crochets. Now in the next 2 stitches we make a new corner, the second corner. In the next stitch make 2 double crochets in that same stitch, 1 and 2, then make a chain 2 and 2 double crochets in the next stitch, in the next same stitch. So 1 in that same stitch, a second for your second corner. In the next 5 stitches make 1/2 double crochet. So 1 in the next stitch, 2 in the next, 3, 4 and 5. And you see here the start of the square. In the next 5 stitches 1 double crochet. So 1 in the next, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Then in the next 2 stitches we make again a corner. 2 double crochets in the next stitch, 1 back into that same stitch for a second, then a chain 2 and then in the next stitch 2 double crochets in that same stitch, 1 back in that same stitch for a second for a next corner. In the next 2 stitches 1/2 double crochet. So 1 into the next stitch, 2. In the next 3 stitches make 1 single crochet, 1 in the next, 2 and in the next, 3. In the next 3 stitches make 1/2 double crochet. So 1 in the next stitch, 2 and in the next stitch, 3. In the next 2 stitches 1 double crochet. So 1 in the next stitch, also 1 double crochet. And now we have to make our next corner into the next 2 stitches. In the next stitch 2 double crochets in that same stitch, 1 and 2, then 2 chain stitches, and we make our corner complete in the next stitch with 2 double crochets. 1 back into the same stitch for a second. In the next stitch 1 double crochet. In the next 2 stitches 1/2 double crochet, 1 and in the next 2, and then in our last stitches here on the end in every stitch 1 single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 single crochets. On top of the very first standing single crochet you work 1 slip stitch. Don't cut the yarn. In the next round we use the same color. If you look now to your work, then we have on each straight side 14 stitches made, and then a chain 2, and then 14 stitches, chain 2, 14 stitches, chain 2, 14 stitches in total, and then chain 2. The next round with the same color, we start with a chain 2 count for your first half double crochet. In the next stitch, make also 1 half double crochet. In that chain 2 space, we make a new corner. 2 half double crochets in that chain 2 corner space. So 1 and 2, and then you make 1 chain and then 2 half double crochets back into that same chain 2 corner space to complete the first corner. And now we have to work in every stitch on the straight side, and that's 14 stitches in total, 1 half double crochet. Your first stitch is here after that chain 2. That's your first stitch. Don't skip that stitch. 14 half double crochets on the straight side. It's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and in the last stitch number 14. And then in the next chain 2 corner space we have to work a new corner of 2 half double crochets in that chain 2 corner space. Then only 1 chain and 2 half double crochets back into that same chain 2 corner space. And this is the way how you work all the way around. Every straight side 14 half double crochets, and in every chain 2 corner space a new corner of 2 half double crochets, chain 1, 2 half double crochets all the way around. Here after that last corner of 2 half double crochets, chain 1, 2 half double crochets, you have to work only 12 half double crochets. In the beginning you have here made also 2 half double crochets. That's also 14 half double crochets on this last side here. Then on top of the very first half double crochet, that's the chain 2, we work 1 slip stitch, 1 and 2 in that stitch, and then we have to work 1 more round. We start with a chain 1, counts for nothing, it's only to hide a stitch. Now back into that same stitch where you make in the previous round, on top of that chain 2, 1 slip stitch, you work in that stitch 1 single crochet. Into the next 3 stitches also 1 single crochet. So 1, 2 and 3. Then here in the chain 1 space we make a new corner, and this is a little bit different corner that we usually do. We make 1 single crochet in that chain 1 space, and then make a chain 1, and then on top of every stitch you work 1 single crochet, and your first stitches here after that chain 2 of the chain 1, in that stitch you work also 1 single crochet, and then is your corner complete. Then on top of every stitch on the straight side you work 1 single crochet. Work like this all your single crochets, and I see you here in the next corner. I work all my single crochets also in the last stitch, and then here in the next chain 1 space we make a new corner of 1 single crochet in that chain 1 corner space, then make a chain 1, and to complete the corner we make that single crochet on top of the very first stitch of the straight side, and then again in every stitch 1 single crochet. Work like this all the way around. Then you cut the yarn, and then on top of the second stitch here in the beginning you work 1 invisible join and weave the tails in on the back of the stitches. The square is complete. Now we have to work on top of the peach a little leaf. With the color green, make a magic circle on the hook. And we start with a chain 2. It's 1 and 2 counts for your first half double crochet. In the magic circle make 11 half double crochets. So yarn over, enter your hook in the magic circle, grab your yarn, pull up 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull to 3. That's 1. Make 11 in total. It's 2, 3, 11 half double crochets. With your first chain 2 in the beginning we have here 12 half double crochets in the magic circle. Now close the magic circle and make on top of the very first half double crochet, that's the chain 2, a slip stitch in the second chain. So 1 and 2 in that stitch, 1 slip stitch. We start with a chain 2, counts also for a chain 2. Now back into that same stitch where you make that slip stitch in the previous round, make 1 half double crochet in that same stitch. Now into the next stitch make 2 half double crochets in that same stitch. That's 1, back into that same stitch for a second. In the next 4 stitches 1 single crochet of 1 half double crochet. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now make a chain 1, and then in the next 4 stitches also 1 half double crochet. It's 1, 2, 3 and 4. Then into the next stitch 2 half double crochets in that same stitch. It's 1, back into the same stitch for a second, then into the next stitch 1 half double crochet, make a chain 2, and then here in the last stitch you work 1 slip stitch into that same stitch where you make that last half double crochet. Now make a chain, make a little knot like this and pull a loop and cut the yarn. And here is our leaf. Now with the needle I weave that working tail in the back of the stitches of the leaf. So you turn your work upside down and weave that tail in. And then cut that tail, and then we have here our tail of the magic circle. Close the magic circle very tight, and then make here on the back a little knot. You go under to a little stitch, then pull through for a second time under to that same stitch. Now make a little loop, then you go with the needle into that loop and pull. Now turn your leaf to the good side and then place it on top of the peach. And then you make small stitches here into the little thread here in the square, and then a little stitch here on the back of that leaf. You pull not that needle through and through your work, only in tiny stitch. Pull through, then again under to a little stitch of the square, and under to a little stitch here of the leaf, and pull through, make a few stitches, then make here on the back of that leaf a little knot, make a little loop, enter your needle through that loop and pull, and then only in the back of the stitches of that leaf weave that tail in. Do not see that needle here on the front, only in the back of the stitches. Then skip one stitch here on the back and go to the other side. And then cut the yarn. And we have to work a little branch here on top of that leaf with the brown color. Make little stitches on top of the leaf. If you like this tutorial, please subscribe to my channel. It costs you nothing. All you have to do is press the subscribe button. Then I want to ask you to like this video and then get notified so you don't miss any new tutorial from me. Leave a comment in the description box and share this video so more people can find me on YouTube so we can have an even bigger crochet family. For now, thank you for watching and I hope to see you next time. Bye!